Podcasting since 2005. This is the King of Podcasts Radio Network. King of Podcast. Podcasting since 2005. This is the King of Podcasts Radio Network. KingofPodcasts.com.
The slow creation of the cult-like fandom in the crowds. The caravan of endless commercials. The changes to WrestleMania causing a catastrophic rift across all of social media. Can you smell what the corporation's doing?
Woo! Hey, this is the Nature Boy Ric Flair. And believe it or not, whether you like it or don't like it, learn to love it. Because you have to listen to Wrestling is Real. It is the best thing going today. Woo!
The worldwide leader of podcasting excellence. The King of Podcasts Radio Network proudly presents The Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us.
This is episode 930 of the Wrestling is Real podcast. King of Podcasts here with you. I didn't expect to do a show tonight, but I was watching Saturday Night's main event, and a lot of other news came on since I was on the air this past Wednesday, so it's time just to go and catch up on things. Wow. But I wanted to get this out of the way because I didn't want to go ahead and table this for the Double or Nothing recap tomorrow. Let's just get it out of the way right now. The buzz around social media, the cult-like juvenile delusional fandom, they're getting upset now. Because one of their heralded events, WrestleMania, is being taken out of New Orleans. Now, maybe not next year, but it's going to be relocated less than a year's time. I already heard the backlash already among the fandom out there. Oh, but WrestleCon just got booked. They just signed their venue contract. And all these promoters are setting up events at probably like a Sam's Town or some other casino hotel or whatever it is. And they're setting things up a year in advance to get their shows ready and booked. But then WrestleMania, hey, TKO Group Holdings, oh, we're corporate, man. We don't care about these other small fries that are making money off of us. We care about our money. It's not our fault we're going to go and move our event when we can do that. They are. They made a lot of money in Las Vegas. And I kind of had an inkling about this, that wouldn't be the first time or the last time they would go back to Las Vegas. Why do they want to do that? Yeah, of course the money's going to be made over there. But it's not just the money that's going to be made for bringing WrestleMania around. Don't forget, TKO Group Holdings, they have other sports franchises together. They want to create events, sports weekends, where WWE is just a cog in a series of events with the Professional Rodeo Tour, the PBR, or UFC. And who knows? They might get boxing back up and going again, because there was a thought, and there was the thing where Nick Khan's trying to get a boxing promotion back up again as well. Hey, they're going to make it where you got a whole thing going on of different events. And where else would you want to put it but Las Vegas? It's not even for the fans, the wrestling fans anymore. They obviously have the wrestling fans in the palm of their hands because the TV shows don't matter anymore. As I have said already on this program a while ago. When did this actually change? When Raw went to Netflix. Because then Lee Fitting was able to be allowed to go ahead and do what he wanted to do to change things up, because then the broadcast changed, right? When the broadcast networks changed and we got the shuffle. Raw to Netflix, SmackDown to USA, NXT to CW. NXT is basically still running like a TV show. I think they're still doing, I haven't really watched. So I don't know if they're still doing the show like it's set like a TV show. I mean, it kind of is more than the other shows, right? The main roster shows don't look like much like television. They're like house show loops. They're like house shows. And NBC, because they're at the point where they don't have anything else they could do but just cram commercials in. This was not run like a live event. This might have been live. They might have not have done live anyway. They should have just taped it for all they know. Because for this show to be live, it didn't make a difference. This is not like a live sporting event they're going to make a whole lot of money from. This is not like a football game or a basketball game Nothing like that. Like, watch, NBC is going to get the NBA pretty soon. You're not going to get commercials like what NBC was allowed to go ahead and put on this Saturday night's main event. They were putting on 6-minute commercial breaks. They stacked the deck on the commercials, right? And I have not seen so many local ads as well. Because remember, what we also saw in these 2 hours was, you might not know this because you might not pay attention to it, but there are several times for local commercials to be run in the programming, which is normally what you have in normal TV aspects. Network TV, you probably see local commercials in the commercial break at the bottom of the hour, half past the hour. So 30 minutes into a show, you obviously see national commercials at about 15, 20 minutes in, another 30 minutes, and then another 40, 45 minutes in. Sometimes, remember, you see, in many cases, any network shows, they run maybe 42, 44 minutes now. Now, more these days, it's like 43 minutes. And then what happens is, for the network shows, whether it's a comedy, whether it's a sitcom, or whether it's like a America's Got Talent, or if it's a reality show or drama, whatever it is, they'll have like 5 breaks in the middle of it. But they're running about a good 17, 18 minutes of commercials. That's what they did tonight. But what they did was they put those breaks and made them 6 minutes. And actually, they did a thing. They actually did 4 breaks or something like that per hour, because what they were doing as well, which you also didn't realize, is it's like what the NBA does with ESPN. ESPN is notoriously bad at advertising with ads spread across. When the NBA finals come up, you watch this. How many times do you go and see where there will be a commercial break, a timeout, they go to commercial, they come back for 30 seconds to show a highlight or to get some commentary, and then they go back to commercial. So they've already run like 90 seconds of commercials, another 90 seconds to 2 minutes of commercials coming up after that. I mean, I wasn't timing it exactly, but it was about at least 6 minutes. It's funny how some people, I actually even timed it so good, man, because I was watching throughout the night. I was in the swimming pool watching the tag team match, and then I see Bronson Reed join the faction with Paul Heyman. We'll talk about that in a moment, because there's some significance to it. And if you want to just know what the writing on the wall is, I'll tell you what it is, because I can see it right away. But when I saw that match finish up, and then we're going to go to Chelsea Green, Zelina Vega, I'm not necessarily interested in that match. I figured it was going to be predictable, and Zelina was going to retain, so they did that. And then even with the John Cena R-Truth match, I mean, it took forever to go ahead and get that. Oh, no, sorry. It was Jey Uso and, the John Cena R-Truth match. It was going to take a while for that to get started. I think I must have given myself about 6 or 7 minutes. And I think, what was it? I was getting myself ready to go from the swimming pool to the shower. Took the phone to the shower to watch. And by the time I got myself set up over there, 7 minutes later, R-Truth was just coming out to the ring dressed a bit like John Cena, doing the John Cena face gimmick, which was it. The same thing goes where I came from, I think I was in the shower. I finished, and I moved myself over back to the bedroom to get dressed, and then I went to the living room. By the time I got over there, it was like 8-9 minutes later, and that was the time that I needed for Logan Paul and Jey Uso to come out with their entrances. And by the time they got to that, the match just finally got started. It's like, you're talking about the house show loop where they're just letting the entrances just run as they go. We're not even catching them in the middle of them. So you're basically having like 8 to 10 minutes of nothing going on. How about the beginning of the show? Joe Tessitore talking for about 5-7 minutes with Jesse Ventura, getting things started with that, the intro. Then we get the long entrance for all 4 participants. Long one for Seth Rollins, another one for Bron, long one for Sami, long one for CM Punk. They're taking forever. And then 2 minutes into the action, we go to break. Get about 7-8 minutes, another break. They're relentless on this. They had a lot of commercials to fill. By the way, no ads on the mat. They did have advertising throughout with dude wipes. By the way, they don't have to promote to me. I already buy this stuff. But I don't buy it off the commercials. I bought it off the TikTok shop. Just saying. But the corporation now, TKO, has full control over this. Once the broadcast deals got taken over, they decided to go and make the change to this house show loop. We're now almost 6 months into this, and it's apparent. We are getting fans now, and the juvenile delusional fandom, those that have been such stalwart defenders of Triple H, and Bruce Pritchard, and Paul Heyman, and Shawn Michaels, and a whole crew over there. Now you're hearing them blow back. Now they're not coming up so much until like saying, oh, this is great, this is wonderful. I don't know what they were thinking. I know what was going on. I talked about this back in January, or even before that, right? Let me see. I pulled up a clip here. This is from episode 897. Again, this is episode 530. But again, this is December 24, 2004. And I brought this comment up on the podcast, 897. It's titled WWE's Netflix Nightmare, The Death of Sports Entertainment. I predicted things like this were going to happen 6 months ago. Literally 6 months ago. Let me play this real quick. Another person on X, all happy about what's going on. Amazing news, wrestling community and WWE fans. Cannot wait for a brand new era as Raw moves to Netflix in 13 days. Roll on January 6th, the start of even more epic moments to happen on a weekly basis. It's pure delusion. Everywhere. Now, in the meantime, listen, I'm not going to go ahead and downplay the success of the company. Take that last point. The company is still finding success. It's a corporation. They don't care about if there's going to be a downturn in the company because there will be an eventual blowback by the fans. This is the start of it already, especially the way WrestleMania was run, the way they ended it, the John Cena heel turn, how it's been handled. This Saturday night's main event once again, and just the direction of the company. With some of the juvenile delusional fandom saying, oh, it's both companies doing bad. AEW doing bad. Well, we'll see how you feel about this stuff, Double or Nothing tomorrow. Because you know what? You might not like the way the TV direction is. You are entitled to go ahead and think that opinion. I'm not here to go and change your mind. But I know that what I've gotten off of AEW is entertaining to me. Do I need them to be perfect? No. And do I think that do I want to go ahead and buy into Will Ospreay saying, oh, they're the best, they're much better in the ring than everybody else or than the WWE? No, I'm not going to say that either. I don't think AEW has any ground right now to go ahead and start pumping their chest saying they're at the level of WWE or that they're going to be able to beat the WWE. No, they're not. If there's even a chance of that, that's going to be years down the line. But not right now. If that's supposed to happen, there has to be a complete collapse from the corporate end of WWE in general for that to happen. It's not. Like, there's a lot of things that have to go wrong for AEW to go and get that level. And that's not happening. And you can't tell me, oh, well, then NXT's still the good thing to have. That's not what we're supposed to have here. I think everybody's really understanding. You wanted Vince out. You wanted to put all the blame on him. But the one thing I would say is the same thing happened when Ted Turner was still hanging on to Turner Broadcasting, and then the change of the corporate buyout of Turner Broadcasting by Time Warner and America Online. Because when that merger finished up, Ted Turner was left to basically an emeritus role, no longer in charge. Once he was pulled away, WCW was already in a bad direction anyway. So there was no way of correcting that part. That was just a company, the corporate was just saying, you know what, we're going to unload this company because we don't need it. Happy to do that. TKO Group Holdings, they want this company to be doing well. But what are they going to do, right, as things are going like this? I'll tell you what's going to happen. You remember that I played that clip for you on Wednesday where Kenny Omega mentioned that 10 years down the line, we're going to have Logan Paul versus Mr. Beast? That's what we're going to get to. if TKO Group Holdings doesn't really care about the way the product's being run right now, yeah, they're going to go to celebrities and other things to bolster up interest in the product. You're not going to have the normal wrestling acumen saying we need to build some new stars and kind of restart things up and build some storylines. They're not going to do that. They're going to go the celebrity route. We already see it right now. It's very apparent. Very apparent. If you've been listening to old King of Podcasts here, you are ahead of the game. I'm talking about something that I was talking about this 6 months ago. Easily 6 months ago. I knew it was coming. I didn't want to go ahead and start, pumping my chest. I told you so. I don't want to be one of those kind of people. But I saw the writing on the wall. But in the meantime, there are some disgruntled people right now. Hey, when Jonathan Coachman goes online and starts talking about the fact of the changes that are being made to WrestleMania, and how dare they go ahead and move it out of New Orleans? Well, they did. And by the way, so the plan was that the Caesars Superdome, the New Orleans Saints football home, yeah, it's an old building, and they have to go and renovate it again. They already did renovations after Katrina, and that was 2005. Now they're going to have to go back and do it again. They have to do more renovations and kind of just reinforce that whole place because that's an old building. And they're not building a new building for them anyway. They're not getting a new venue. So they have to go and fix what they got. And maybe there were some plans in there where the Superdome wasn't going to be ready in time for WrestleMania next year. I don't know. But the plan is that WrestleMania can go somewhere else. And they made the deal to bring Money in the Bank there. So the New Orleans, Sports Athletic Commission, whatever it is, they agreed to go and take Money in the Bank. They'll take that weekend. And then most likely TKO will have something where they'll have a UFC event there. Who knows what they'll do? But it's obvious. Like, UFC likes to go and run in Las Vegas. And if football's not going on at Allegiant Stadium, then you know what? They're going to have access to that stadium when they want to in Las Vegas, because I bet you Nick Khan and the folks there in TKO Group Holdings, who are based there in Las Vegas, will be able to go ahead and get access to what they want. Listen, they're probably a bunch of degenerate gamblers over there anyway. Have their access in there and say, hey, we're going to bring this event here. It's going to bring bodies here. You have to understand this. You have wrestling people that are being allowed to run the day-to-day operations of the television product and the booking of the shows, of their TV shows and their premium live events. For how long? It's the hourglass has turned around. The sands in the hourglass are starting to go through. I'm not going to be surprised that Triple H and the team there, Triple H will no longer be chief content officer. He'll be pulled from that position. It's just a matter of time. It's transitory, transitionary. It's going to happen. And who knows what will be there. And personally, I think The Rock, in his role in the board of directors, he will have a say as to who will be the predecessor. Because it will not be Triple H. Triple H could have just followed some of Vince McMahon's direction. Kind of just taken some of the idea from there. But they're not. And look at how quickly this company is starting to go ahead and have major issues that the fan base is starting to get upset about. No answer for that. Nothing. I don't know what you do about that. But they are making mistakes on there. Now, as for the Saturday Night Main Event tonight, we can talk about a few things in there. First of all, as I said earlier, in the tag team match tonight, Rollins and Breakker beating Sami Zayn, CM Punk, Bronson Reed returns. So if you're not familiar, Paul Heyman in ECW, he had a faction in ECW, the original ECW, okay? The Triple Threat. The franchise Shane Douglas, No Gimmicks Needed Chris Candido, and Bam Bam Bigelow. So Shane Douglas is the aforementioned, he's like the championship veteran, egotistical, narcissistic, loudmouth, but he is the leader of the group. Francine will be by his side, so he had, they did have a female presence as part of the group. I think they could probably do something where they might incorporate a woman, We kept talking about maybe it would be Becky Lynch. I don't know. But I think something like that can happen. But then there's Chris Candido, which he was the younger upstart, making a name for himself. Wasn't with Tammy Lynn Sitch, I think, at that point yet, or he was. I don't remember. But Chris Candido, very much a name that was on the come up in ECW there. He's basically what Bron Breakker is right now. Only because Bron Breakker is the younger talent of the group. And Big Bronson Reed, the big, massive, mastodon type of guy, big slab of meat, that is Bam Bam Bigelow. That's kind of the idea they're thinking of right here. And I think Paul Heyman for himself, he's got no bloodline to work off of. That's completely out of his whole system. So he's being allowed to go ahead and book this group. And maybe he's the one that decided to go and pick the names he wanted to bring on here. So he got to work with Bron Breakker in NXT. Getting to work with Seth Rollins, fine. So the direction of Paul Heyman getting away from Roman Reigns or CM Punk and now coming to this new triple threat, that was his idea, I guess. But it looks exactly like he's creating the triple threat, which was a very prominent organization in ECW. Because if I'm correct, Shane Douglas at one time was the ECW World Heavyweight Champion, and I want to say Candido was the TV champ, if I'm correct. And I think he was. I don't think, because I don't remember, I mean, Candido and Storm became tag team champions, but that was after that. But the triple threat was really a real prominent group within that was the lead main event storyline in ECW at that point. This is like after either Tommy Dreamer or Tommy Dreamer and Raven was still going on at the time, and you had other storylines going on here, but that was a stable that was really prominent. That's what they're creating right here. And I would hope that Heyman will go ahead and keep playing up on that part. We don't need this to be an evolution or another four horsemen. We don't need a fourth person. I know people are speculating that. No. 3's enough. You put a woman in there as the accompanying of the group. I don't know what that will be, but yeah. I think that's what this is. It kind of, the archetypes all fit in the right place. So now just find a new Francine. Whoever that's going to be. I don't know. But that could be a role for somebody that you have in the women's division that you want to go ahead and build up, that you could put in that role. I think that would be a bad idea. That way you don't have a problem putting women in the stables all together. For Alpha Academy, for Judgment Day, for American Made. It's obvious they don't mind having a woman as part of the group, so that might be where they're going with it. And I'm guessing there will be a woman that'll be a part of this. But will that matter yet? Not until they actually start getting some belts. Because right now, yeah, they got Sami Zayn and CM Punk to go and deal with. That's the whole plan here. But to really do something more with the Triple Threat faction, they got to start winning some belts here. So Bron Breakker needs to be going after something, after a belt, whether it's the IT title or something else. But they can't because Gunther's holding onto it. And John Cena holding the Universal WWE Championship, they're not going after a heel. So it doesn't work for them to be here. It's too bad they're not on SmackDown. Probably a better chance to go in, or right now, sorry, Jey Uso would be the focus for Seth Rollins or somebody like that. But the problem is they got Logan Paul in their way. But we're not even going to get to that part yet because Jey Uso and Logan Paul had their match, which wasn't even a match, got blown up. For whatever reason, John Cena came out to attack Jey Uso. Now we're going to get a tag team match with Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso after Logan Paul and John Cena. Because they don't want to have anything move along with those two belts anytime soon. They want to go ahead and hold that back. So Money in the Bank, they're going to have that tag team match where the titles will not be on the line. So if somebody wins the Money in the Bank ladder match, are either one of those briefcases going to be cashed in? Or no, will that briefcase be cashed in on the men? I guess not. Not if it's going to be in the middle of a tag team match. I don't know. Unless you have something where the Money in the Bank ladder match. And you know what? I feel horrible. I don't even know who's in the match right now. It's been so insignificant. I have the shows on, but I don't retain anything from these shows. Nothing. So for Money in the Bank coming up, at the moment, Solo Sikoa and LA Knight are qualified. That's it, all that we know right now. What they can do is that you have Seth Rollins or Bron Breakker or Bronson Reed compete in the ladder match. You make it where Seth Rollins wins the briefcase and then cashes in on Jey Uso. There's a belt right there. I guess you could do that. That would be fine. But there's not much more to that. And by the way, there was not much more to this whole night. So Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre, the steel cage match, the word is Drew McIntyre has gotten to the point where he is so hurt right now. He's working with so many injuries to one where he can't move his face. I think he can't move his head to the left, all the way to the left, because he's like in so much of an issue. So the fact that Damian Priest destroyed Drew McIntyre in the steel cage match, first of all, walking out of the cage, Jesse Ventura pissed off. Why is he not climbing over? Great point there, Jesse. But yeah, they don't do that. But the plan was Damian Priest comes back in, destroys Drew McIntyre because Drew McIntyre was getting an injury angle off the door. He's going to be out for a while. So there's that. And as I said, John Cena beats R-Truth. Non-title, by the way. Nothing out of that either. It's just like, okay. It was John Cena just taking a booking, getting a match. That was it. But these are like B-level pay-per-views like TNA. Like Under Siege, I don't know if they even had anything that happened on that show either. But like they did have a pay-per-view last night. I forgot it was even on. But one thing I can tell you for sure that happens when it comes to the TNA B-level pay-per-views, no title changes. Because the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team titles, retain. TNA Knockouts World Championship, retain. TNA World Tag Team Championships, retained. And the world title was not on the line because it was a tag team match with Joe Henry in it. So you go. Done. By the way, TNA doesn't even get Joe Henry versus Trick Williams in the TNA pay-per-view. But yet, Joe Henry will be defending the world title, not on Under Siege last night. No, he's going to defend it at Battleground for NXT. And as I'm saying, he will probably lose the belt. And Trick Williams will become TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Book it. Watch it happen. Watch it happen. So tomorrow we get Battleground and and Double or Nothing. Head to head. By the way, this is corporate. They just don't care. They just don't care. And who knows if Triple H probably says something to them, hey, in the boardroom, you should go ahead and put the shows up against AEW. Well, talk about a company that's relentless. Let's just take out our competition. Let's just go ahead and jump all over AEW and the programming. Look, for all of you that want to go ahead and bitch, moan, and complain about AEW, you might be happy to go and see AEW constantly being counter-programmed by WWE on a regular basis. It is a pretty shitty thing to do, okay? For NXT Battleground to go up exactly up against AEW Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing, they're trying to make money off of that. And I think you're doing a disservice, TKO Group Holdings, by putting the NXT show up against AEW. I mean, you probably will get some fans that might not go to AEW and buy the pay-per-view, because, of course, those are a little bit pricey. But, yeah, it is a pretty shitty thing to do to them. I mean, there's more than enough dates on the calendar for them to go ahead and pick whatever they want. I mean, Saturday night's main event did not have to get booked on the 24th, excuse me. Like, you could have just had Battleground on Saturday night. Leave AEW alone to its own device. But they don't want to do that. No, of course not. They don't care. I was listening to Jeff Jarrett's podcast, and he brings up the fact that really there's just so much content that the WWE's right now doing like for themselves. It's crazy. Battleground is coming up tomorrow. In less than 2 weeks, they got Money in the Bank. Incredible. And AEW, and AAA NXT Worlds Collide. 2 NXT events like that back to back. That's wild, man. Plus, they have Night of Champions on June 28th. But then again, once they get past that show of Night of Champions, which will just be like a, another glorified house show, I would imagine. Then we go ahead and get a bit of time to ourselves, a good 5 weeks before a 2-night SummerSlam, which that's another one in itself. I don't even know what you have to get up for summer. Like right now, they should be booking for SummerSlam right now. You're going to have a 2-night show, much like WrestleMania. I don't see anything right now in their current setup on the roster where they have something set up to like really give us something big for SummerSlam at MetLife Stadium. They got to sell out that stadium. Are they going to be able to do that? Like, what kind of pricing on those tickets right there to get, like, I don't know how they're going to do it. I have no clue. But anyways, we can say more about it. I'm kind of surprised with what they did. And the changes right now with WrestleMania and these corporate changes, man, it's no surprise. And there's more corporate changes to come. I'm telling you, something will happen where we will hear Triple H be stepping down as chief content officer. They're obviously making changes right now, creative as it is. Something will tell me that once we start seeing some signals that TKO Group has to go on an earnings call and they can't do enough to boost the shareholders up, trust me, there will be more things that will happen. Because right now, earnings call, you had a plethora of people that are dropped from the roster just like that. A month ago, after WrestleMania. And then we come to this now, they've acquired AAA. They're making moves right now. Oh, Saudi Arabia is not getting a crown jewel. The crown jewel goes to Perth, Australia in October. So Saudi Arabia is getting Night of Champions. So the Saudi Arabia deal continues on, but they're just going to get some whatever show. But then most likely the return on the investment for Saudis is the Crown Prince will get a Royal Rumble next year, right? And also we know there are other events coming up for WWE. We don't even know what they have set up for yet. Like after SummerSlam, they're going back to Paris again. We don't know what they're going to do between then and Survivor Series. No plans for that yet. But hey, to each his own. That's what their plan is. I don't expect it to go that long, but hell, I got about 35 minutes off of this. But here you go, man. A lot to say about this. Well, anyway, I will be coming back tomorrow, and I'll be doing a post show for Double or Nothing. Pretty interesting pay-per-view they got coming up tomorrow, so we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll run through the card, and anything else we get for the blowback off of WWE's Sunday Night Cinema event, we'll talk about that too tomorrow. Enjoy Double or Nothing. We'll talk to you on the recap here on the Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us.